Hey, so I'm going to talk about alpha states here. And first, I'm going to explain what they are, but I also have to go through some disclaimer. So, first disclaimer is this is just all theoretical right now. It's also a little bit in its infancy. And the reason why I'm going through alpha states of I'm going to talk about each of the coins. The reason I'm doing this is because I needed to give a name to each coin, and I wanted to talk about each coin independently. I'm going to share the screen and talk about and just show what the coins are about, in case you don't. So yeah, we got these coins here. Now, I wanted to give a name and talk about them independently and find out what's going on. And I didn't know how to characterize each coin independently because there's just so many types on each coin. But what I thought the best way to do it is to characterize them based on their alpha state. And the alpha state is really when each function, like it's not possible. Another disclaimer, it's not possible to ever reach an alpha state, right? It's not possible to ever go Super Saiyan, to use modern pop culture references. Well, not so modern anymore, but it's not possible to do it, but you're always able to get closer and better. And the older you get and the more experience you get, the more you're able to deal with your weaker sides and capitalize on them. And I guess like if someone were to live to be 1,000 years old, they would eventually get closer and closer to their alpha state. So that's another disclaimer quick. But so the alpha state is when you're actually using all of your functions simultaneously and you're actually working as this full and complete human being that you want to eventually get to, right? This is like the goal of happiness. This is just how goal of success and everything. Okay. And the other thing, I guess like a way that could simulate this is if you have like maybe 4 people, one with each function, all sitting together and combining their minds and combining their expertise together. And so they would also behave as if they were in this alpha state, and they will also produce what is producing. So in order to talk about this alpha state, we have to understand how information flows, and really the goal of humanity. And I talked about it a little bit on my video about entropy. But basically what it is entropy. I'm going to just give a non-physics definition of entropy just to make it layman's and able to understand for everyone, because we also talk about control and chaos in objective personality. So really the world is chaotic, right? And the chaos that comes in to us is going to always come in from our extroverted observer. Given it can come in from our introverted observer as well, but in a different way. But anyway, so we're gonna get this information into us, this chaotic information, this high entropy information, and we're going to be able to process it and reduce the entropy. Reducing the entropy means making it more ordered and making it more structured and making it easier to understand. So no matter what coin you're on, when you're in your alpha state, you're able to do that. You're able to reduce it and abstract and get the information that you need from your extroverted observer and bring it into your introverted observer. And then you're going to be able to act in the world. You're going to be able to reduce the entropy not only in yourself, but then go out and reduce the entropy in the world, bring more order and bring more structure and bring more perfection into the world, and advance the society of the human race, basically. Okay. And so this is really what I took the alpha state as being. I mean, someone else could have a cultural bias and take the alpha state as just becoming this super monk that goes and doesn't eat anymore and just does meditation all day and rises up in elevations of consciousness and just never interacts with the humanity and ends up dying and then has no influence over the world at all, right? That could also be based on your cultural bias. That could be your alpha state. But based on my cultural bias on that the world is getting better, well, it should be ideally, and that we're going to keep getting more closer and closer to perfection and making things improving, right? And so really what we're going to need to do in order to improve and get better and better is we're going to have people that are going to help us do that, right? We're going to go off course, and we're going to need someone to steer us back, right? We're going to be in chaos, and we're going to need someone to bring more and more order. And that's just really the evolution of humanity, right? Not that chaos is bad. It's just that chaos is uncertainty, and uncertainty is death, because That's just the way it works. Anyway, I don't want to get into that argument. I just want to talk more about this, each coin, and give each one a name. Really what I was trying to do. I didn't want to call them alpha, beta, gamma. That's just, socionics. so, so, so I'll talk about each coin. So I can talk, I'll start here. So this alpha state is going to be able to use all of its functions. And I'll talk about the patterns I find between the types, the alpha states of each type a little bit after, but you'll be able to notice these patterns too, like right now when I talk about it. So again, another disclaimer, this is just my model. This does not reflect in any way what reality is. Take it with a grain of salt. This idea is still very much in its infancy, but we can still just sort of speculate. This is really what this is going to be about, speculation. So you're going to have reality come in a very detailed and clear sensory way. It's going to be really accurate, and it's going to come in to your introverted feeling, and you're going to evaluate reality, evaluate what's good for you and what's not good for you. Okay, you're going to be able to take those values and generalize them, and generalize the central this data, and be able to project that generalization far into the future. Is what NI is doing. It's seeing these general patterns, and it's going to make a huge step into the future on how you can make the world better for you. And then you're going to find a solution that works for everybody in order for it to be better and in order to your like. So like a huge example of this, someone who's sort of done this kind of thing in their alpha state. And I'm not saying he's reached an alpha state. I'm just saying this is the sort of thing that this alpha state should predict, is like Steve Jobs, for example, right? So Steve Jobs knows what he likes. He knows what he likes. He's able to abstract that, and he's able to give that to everybody. He gives everybody what he likes, right? And he makes huge jumps and huge leaps because he's able to do that, okay? And what happens with this is really, you'll see that this pattern, that these two NIs are going to make huge leaps in the progress that they're bringing to the world. And so I called this the Innovator coin. The name doesn't really matter, but I needed to give it a name, and for now, that's the best name. If anyone has a better name, please let me know. I'm really open to suggestions here. Okay, so I'm touching on it really briefly. I'm going to go to the next one. Let's stay with NI. So here's the same thing. There's going to be a very objective reality that's going to come in, a very objective, detail-oriented reality. It's going to come in, and it's going to be processed by the subjective thinking, and the subjective thinking is going to be able to abstract patterns on this reality, abstract all of these patterns that they're seeing, and they're going to be able to take these patterns that's logical for them and apply it to everyone in some idealized fashion. Okay, and so again, an example of this, and I don't know his type, but what I personally see this as, and maybe someone will differentiate and think differently, but I think these are the people who make these huge leaps for everyone around them. They're going to be the revolutionaries. Okay, so I wanted to call this one the Innovator and this one the Revolutionary. Okay, so the Revolutionary in their alpha state. So I was thinking of someone like Martin Luther King. So Martin Luther King, it might not have been a big leap to what he was saying and what he was talking about. Like, it might have been a natural progression, but let's just assume, for the sake of this discussion, that he reached some elevated state where he was able to be a revolutionary and bring about huge change in society, right? And so Martin Luther King Jr., or like someone like Mahatma Gandhi or something like this, someone who's able to revolutionize, make huge leaps into the future that most people don't see. It's because they're using all their functions and they're able to accomplish that. Okay, so I call this type the revolutionary. Now I'm going to come over to this type. So now what's different with SI? So you saw here, this was more for social change and social betterment, and this is more for like technological betterment and not way of life. standard of living, right? So this is the innovators are going to increase the standard of living. So this is, you'll see across the board, this is more standard of living alpha increases, our own, and this is more social and moral increases, okay? So it's really strange how that happens, how subjective thinking can end up being a huge force for, like Martin Luther King, for revolution, okay? So here again, they're going to be able to take in all of these patterns, and they're going to see everything, all of the dangers that are around them in the now, like everything that's really immediate, okay? And this is really useful because, like, there's lots of things that we need to be careful of now, and that we can fall, and right, and we could fail in the immediate present, okay? And so these people are going to be super aware in the immediate present, and they're going to bring it into their values and their likes and dislikes, and they're going to want to improve the present based on these likes and dislikes, like try to achieve these short-term goals, these short-term visions, like visions for their own lifetime. These people are going to look beyond their own lifetime, and these people are generally going to look within their own lifetime. And then what they're going to end up organizing this information into this structured and factual way, and they're going to be able to properly communicate it and bring the world closer to this to these value patterns. So they're going to implement their values externally in a technical and thinking way. And so what I thought about this, I don't know what type he is, but I thought something like Henry Ford, who yeah, he made a little bit of a leap inventing the assembly line. But really what he was doing is he was systemizing. I would call these people the systemizers. So they'll take this uncertainty now and this chaos and this randomness, and they'll find the patterns, and they'll be able to systemize the current version, the current state of the world. They'll be able to systemize it and make streamline things and make things more stable. They'll increase the stability of the current state of the world. So these people are going to cause a lot of instability. In the NIs are going to cause a lot of instability in the way they're going to behave and the way they're going to bring things to the future. And these people are going to bring about more stability. And so this is the back and forth between these two types. And so they're going to cause this stability to and I also like to think about it as like steering, right? So you're steering a car, and sometimes you need to make really huge adjustments. You're about to smash into a tree. You need to turn really far, right? But then, so that's these people. They're going to make big adjustments, or they're going to make left turns and right turns, and they're going to really navigate through that way. And then these people are going to make fine adjustments. They're going to try to stay within their lane, and they're going to make sure that things go smoothly. Okay, and so really all of these types are really necessary for I'm like, again, I'm generalizing. I'm not saying that this type can't do that and this type can't, like, they can't do what the other type is doing, but this is just what this alpha state would be best at, right? And again, theoretical, all these disclaimers, but anyway. So they're going to be able to streamline the innovative process, and there might be this big leap, this big vision, and they're going to be able to bring this vision to fruition. They're going to, right? Steve Jobs might have this huge vision for what he wants computers to be, and then this is the type of person who is going to enable that to happen, and improve slowly, one step to the next step to the next step, and not make big jumps, and be very stable in their incremental increase. Okay. And now here's the same thing. I don't have an example of the type of person for this one for some reason. I'll get one eventually, but I'm going to call them more like a director, okay, or more like a politician or something like this, who are able, the same thing. They're able to take in, see immediate threats, see immediate patterns that need to be solved. They're going to internalize it logically, and they're going to approach these very logically. They're going to systemize them factually, and they're going to be able to figure out baby steps and little ways to implement them in the social realm. And these are going to be the directors that are going to make these really fine-tuned adjustments on the course of humanity. Okay, Now again, I haven't gone too deep into this because I myself am still diving further into this idea. So again, I'm just going to recap the names. I'm going to call this one for now, and please again mention in the comments if you have a better name or if you understand these differently. I'm very open to all of this. So I'm going to call them the Innovator for now. I'm going to call them the Revolutionary. I'm going to call them the Systemizer, and I'm going to call them the Director. Okay, and and uh, and I wanted one last, and this is really one of the most important disclaimers. Okay, so when you see this alpha state, okay, and you're like, okay, I'm on this alpha state somewhere. Okay, I'm somewhere on this. I'm going to try to be the innovator. I'm going to try to be Steve Jobs. Well, that's no. Okay, and I'm going to explain really well what happens. The innovation only comes out of achieving an alpha state. Your goal really should be maximizing your functions and using your functions properly and balancing them and becoming a whole and complete human being. And once you've become a whole and complete human being, you're not going to need to go out and innovate. You're just going to do it. It's just going to come out of you, right? Based on the way you're using your functions. Like it's not like you're not going to try and you're not going to bust your behind trying to do this, but busting your behind and being disciplined and all that is going to come out of you achieving this state. And once you have this state, just wonderful things are going to come out of you. And even if they're not on the level of human history, even if they're not on the level of world stage where it's evident to everyone, if you achieve an alpha state, you will reduce entropy in society. You will reduce entropy in quality of life. You will do it. And it's just, and even if no one thanks you for it and no one recognizes you for it, it's just something that's naturally going to come out. And so please, I want to stress, don't try to be Steve Jobs. Try to be you and try to maximize your NI and your SE, right? And so here too, don't try to be Mahatma Gandhi or don't try to be Martin Luther King Jr. Try to be you and try to maximize your traits, and something will come out of you. Something amazing will come out of you once you've achieved this alpha state. And again, alpha state is impossible to achieve, but you can get closer and you can become more and more in an alpha state. So I'm going to stop sharing and just and just thank you for watching. And I really, really am interested what people have to say about this. Again, I'm still delving deeper when I have time to think and to sit and just ponder and go deep. So sometimes when I'm driving or when I have free time or whatever. So yeah, this isn't the end. This is just really the beginning of discussing the coins. I wanted to be able to talk about the coins and give them a name. So really, I'm brainstorming here more for names and less for understanding, but understanding is really the end goal anyways. So have a good one. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.